morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday. We are just letting people into the webinar right now. We're going to get started here in a bit. Thank you to those who submitted questions from our survey that we sent out from the previous webinar. If you guys did want to watch that recorded session, we do have that on our YouTube channel, and I'll make sure to drop that link in the chat for you guys. Today, I have people from staff from the CoreLogic side here today to answer your questions. We have Willie Fluck, Keith Hensley, Jay Myers, and Katie Strickland. Again, today's session is going to be recorded, so you will be receiving a recorded version of this as well. But if you guys have already started looking at OneHome, I hope you have, because that site is live, and you have questions, please put those into the Q&A section of your Zoom so that the team can answer those questions. Some of those might be answered within the Q&A platform itself, and others will be answered live with a demonstration. So we're gonna go ahead and start today's session, unless you want to add anything else, Keith, before we get started.
Nope. The only thing I would like to do is, well, first say aloha to everyone out there. I do have some documents I'm going to ask Jennifer to share with everyone. I'm going to pull them up here. All right. This is the first one here called Q&A for OneHome. It has two links on here. So Jennifer is going to share this one in the chat section for everyone to have. And it's a full walkthrough. It's about 15 and a half minutes long that just walks you or your client through where everything can be found at within OneHome Portal. And the second one is called Activating Account, because that's one kind of a new feature, you know, that your clients, we encourage your clients to activate their account. Now, do they have to? No, absolutely not. They still see a lot of information with OneHome when you email them listings, but by activating their account, it just keeps their portal, their OneHome Portal safe and confidential, so that as like prior with the Matrix Client Portal, your clients could leave you notes and you could respond to those notes. Hopefully you already know that about the old client portal. But what was something different was it wasn't secure, it wasn't safe, because they could forward that email off to anyone that they like, and whoever they shared that link with could see all the comments I made and all the comments they made, plus they can make their own comments. So it just wasn't a safe and secure site. So by activating the account, basically your client has the opportunity to create a password, to lock it down, if you would. And by watching this 3.5 minute video that we produced, just reassures them that that's all they have to do is create a password. And that way they can save notes, you can respond, and no one else sees that information. Unless they know how to log into that account. Even you as the agent doesn't know what your client's password is. And if your client forgets it, when they try to log in, there's a forgot password option for them, just like with any site that there's a password. And then there's a website for you and or your clients that talks about OneHome, what OneHome is, and just some common questions out there for you. So that's the first handout that Jennifer should have posted for you just now. Oop. Let me go back and share my screen one more time here. The other handout that I'm going to ask Jennifer to do is a What is OneHome? What is OneHome is another document, and I think I've got the wrong screen shared there. There we go. Let's share this one here. It's just a nice little marketing brochure that kind of walks you through what it is, something you can also share with your clients, educating them of what OneHome is and what it has to offer. Okay. All right. Let's see. So Jennifer, let me just double check. Yes, she did post both of those brochures in there. So what I like to do is, Katie, what was the first question that you'd like me to walk through just to confirm?
One of them was activating an account.
Okay. Let me go ahead and activate the account there. There we go. Okay, so like I mentioned, your contacts in here that you have within Matrix now have a OneHome portal. They don't have to open up, they don't have to activate their account. However, I'm going to pick on Janelle here, a friend of mine. I'm going to send her some listings. So if you don't know already, that's how your clients, that's how your customers know about OneHome. They just go in, buy an email, open an email that you had sent to them. So I'm just going to do a search here, found some results, and I'll just pick a handful of these here. And I'm going to email these to Janelle. That's how they know about it. OneHome is not an app. That's a common question that we get a lot is there an app for it? Can they download it in the Google Play Store or the App Store? No, you just basically send them listings. And when they open it, it doesn't matter if they open it on a cell phone or on a tablet, an iPad, or a desktop or Mac, it just opens up into the portal there. So as I go in here, I'm going to email this to Janelle, and you're going to see this. Probably one of the next few questions I'm going to answer here is about texting your clients. So just remember this. Here's an option to text listings to your clients here. I'm not going to do it this time. I'm just going to email Janelle some listings. Okay, once I send those listings to Janelle, I'm going to open up Janelle's email here. Now it's just a fake generic email that I'm using this program called Mailinator. So I'm just going to open this email, and she gets a nice little template that is surrounded or framed around a banner for OneHome that has a generic message, or it could have used my message. If I would have typed a message in there, it would have just used whatever I typed in there. So here, Janelle would just click on this link, and it takes her into OneHome. You're going to notice here at the very top right, it's going to say activate account here. Right up here. Now, as I mentioned, she does not need to activate the account. Now, do we encourage them to? Absolutely. That just gives them a little bit more capability, a little bit more power of what they can do here. And just let me click on this here. Should be seeing these 5 listings right over here. There we go. Okay, there's the listings on this on the left-hand side, a little thumbnail view. Now, to activate the account, like I said, all it's basically going to do is encourage her to create a password. So when she clicks on create activate account, and this is what that video would go through also. We already know what her email address is, so we're not asking for it. We're not asking for her to give us that because, you know, one, we know it, but two, that scares people because they think, oh, no, now you're going to set me up on a mailing program. I'm going to get spam emails and all this stuff. No, they're not going to get any of that. In fact, we're not allowed to spam or sell their information in any way. So we already know their email address, her email address. So all Janelle needs to do is just confirm her name, however she likes, because maybe she goes by Jan instead of Janelle. So she just kind of confirms all this information. And like I said, she just creates a password. And all this is going to do is it's going to lock it down and secure it so that way no one else can see the messages between me and her. I log into Matrix, which is password protected. Now she will log in to her OneHome, and she won't have to log in every time to activate the account, just the one time, as long as her computer, you know, doesn't erase her passwords all the time. It'll just remember who she is and automatically log her in. So I think I did the right password here. So she's going to agree to the license agreement, just like any site does when you activate an account. And that's it. Now she is locked in. I've got a program that remembers passwords here. I'm just going to say not now. And then it'll just prompt her to sign in. So she's going to type in her email address. And I use this all over the country. That's why I have to think of unique email addresses here all the time, because like I said, I do this training for OneHome all across the United States and Canada. So I always try to unique email address per location I'm in. So now Janelle just logs in. And like I said, once she logs in, She wouldn't have to log in every time as long as she's on the same device out there. So now she got logged in. You can see up here now, it doesn't say activate account. Now she already has activated her account. It's got her initials up here. So now what this means is as she's finding properties here, she can click on the heart to save it because she couldn't save it before. If she didn't activate her account, she wouldn't have been able to save it there. She could click on the listing itself and not only save it as with the heart there, but now she can even add a note. And this is something that they could have done, she could have done prior to OneHome, but now, you know, she just has to activate her account. Let's see, can we see this listing? Okay, question mark and hit note. And just like normal, just like in the previous portal, that would come back inside of Matrix there. And we could see it there. My internet is moving really slow right now. Okay, so it is saved as a favorite. And if, let's say Janelle had already saved some listings as a favorite prior to OneHome, these listings would already still be saved. If she had left some notes on properties, they would already still be here. They would have carried over from the previous client portal. So just reassure them, your clients, that if they had prior saved listings prior to OneHome, they would still be here waiting for her, or waiting for them. They just need to activate their account. Hope that makes sense there, okay? So again, do they need to activate their account? No. Should they? I think so. I would encourage them to. And also by activating the account, not only can she save or reject listings here, but look at this up here. All of my saved searches, if I had any saved auto emails for her, would be up here waiting for her. Now, she could do a search without activating her account, but she couldn't save that search. Now that she activated her account, it would be saved here, or she has the ability to save it, where if she didn't activate her account, she could do a search, she just couldn't save it. So anytime a note or saving listings or rejecting listings or saving searches, things like that, that has interaction between me and her, she needs to activate her account to do that. But outside of that, no, she doesn't need to activate her account. She can still see a lot of stuff. I think one of the next questions was how to see more information on properties, more featured information. And we have a wealth of information on OneHome on all your properties. So for instance, if Janelle opens this listing up here, she can see if this had an open house, she would be able to see the open house date here. She would be able to see, scrolling down here, she can see some basic information, including the agent or the customer remarks. Now, we never show them confidential information. We don't show them things that only you as an agent should see. Okay, it's always client-friendly information that's stored in here. But as they scroll down, as Janelle scrolls down, she can open up the property details and see all kinds of interior details and exterior details. She can scroll on down and open up the building details. She can open and close those little boxes there, drop-down menus, to see utility information, construction information, homeowners association information here, other facts and features. Okay. And one of the main reasons why all these options here are kind of closed up is because what if she was on a cell phone here? So what I'm going to do real quick here is kind of minimize my screen and kind of give you a look of how it would look like if she was on a cell phone. If she was on a cell phone, she would have obviously a much smaller display screen. So as she scrolls down, it just fits nice and neatly in here. And now these property details takes away a lot of scrolling, extra scrolling that she would have to do. So if she just opens up any one of those, she can see it or just close it again, just open and close. Okay, but most of the listing information, as long as it's client friendly, it's going to be in this section here somewhere out there. I'm just going to make that screen bigger again. But as she scrolls down, you can see that OneHome will also give her school ratings. Elementary schools, the distance from the property, the number of students in last year, and the student per teacher ratio from last year. Middle schools, high schools, and even private schools are all located here. Now you're going to notice on the public schools that they have a rating right here. Well, this rating is using the latest available standardized test results from the Department of Education there, okay? So you can see we show them a lot of information, including the tax information here, open house information if it was available, and even a walk score, a bike score, and a transit score out there. All this information we want to give your client so they'll stay on your site. We don't want them venturing off and going somewhere else, and who knows what would happen then, and might end up on another realtor site, and we don't want that. So we want to keep them, help you keep them on your client portal, and that's what OneHome is all about there. Okay. And I think there was another question, and that was a question I think someone asked, well, we also have MLS Touch and we have OneHome. What's the difference between MLS Touch, or not just MLS Touch, but other products that Matrix or your High Central MLS has to offer there? Well, your core products will be, first of all, Matrix. Okay, that's for you. Well, your clients, your customers cannot log into Matrix because they're not a member. That's why they need you. So you log into Matrix to send them information. They're going to use OneHome. OneHome is their primary source, their primary portal that you should encourage them to use. Now, you also have MLS Touch. MLS Touch is an app. Some of your clients love apps. They like to have it on their cell phone. Here's my cell phone I was trying to look for here. They have it on their cell phone. So they'd rather do that. Now, yes, they can do MLS or OneHome on their cell phone, okay, because it is mobile friendly, but it is not an app. So if they open up or get a text message from you, they could just open it up and see their messages that they have here. Okay. In fact, I'm going to show, I've got a screen mirroring app that I can do this. And that way you can actually see this in real time here in just a moment, because that's the next thing I want to show you is how to text listings to your clients. But MLS Touch is an app that you as an agent can use. And if it was me, I would be using it also along with OneHome. But MLS Touch is for people that almost prefer an app. It's something that MLS Touch is an app that I could share with Janelle or Tom or Steve or Ray, any of my clients. And then that way, as they're driving around town, they can just open up MLS Touch on their phone. And there's a really cool feature that says near me. Actually, I forget what it's called. It's been a while since I've taught on it there. But when they open up MLS Touch, they can just hit the button and it'll show them the listing that they're standing out in front of and give them more information. Now, that's something that OneHome can't do. But like I said, OneHome is your primary source. It's your primary portal or repository, if you will, that keeps everything that you've been sending them back and forth. And Janelle could use it right here on her phone. But the app is an extra tool. It's just an added benefit. It's just another tool in your tool belt to share with your clients. And honestly, I'd probably use both. It just depends on my client, really. Depends on me. I mean, some of you as an agent or broker, maybe the app is not for you, but just stick with Matrix. That's your bread and butter. That's your main source. That's your main way to communicate, work with, save searches and stuff. But MLS Touch is an added bonus, an added tool that you could do, because some of you as agents and some of your clients might actually like using that also there. So I hope that kind of answers the question about MLS Touch. And other programs I don't think really tie in together with OneHome. So MLS Touch is about the only one I can really think of that might come close to mentioning here where, you've got other showing time and some other features out there. Okay. One more question, and then I'll look back to Jennifer or Willie or whoever else, and they can jump in and let me know what people are chatting about in the chat there. Okay. But texting, let me give you a demonstration of what texting can do for you. One of the first things I like to mention about texting, we at CoreLogic, we adhere to the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, I believe it's called. And what that means is, Congress passed some legislation a while ago that you just can't just start texting people without their permission here. So what we need to do is we need to have them opt in. We need them to tell you, hey, yes, I want to receive text messages. So before I'm going to go into my contacts here. And here's all my contacts. Before I contact or before I can text any one of these clients, they must opt in, okay? Because not only can I text them individual emails, like a manual email, me doing a search, picking a handful of listings and hitting send and emailing it and texting them. It also relates to the auto emails. And hopefully you know what an auto email is. An auto email is where you save a search and it automatically sends it on a regular basis. As soon as it finds that new match, it automatically emails it to your client or to you. Well, you can also text it to them automatically too. And that is why they need to opt in. So what you probably would do is you're going to probably have hundreds of contacts. Okay. I've only got 5 of them here. So start with the ones that you work with most of the time. And in fact, see this column here that says my last use? You can sort it by that and look at the contacts you've worked with recently. Put them on the top of your list. And Janelle is the one I've worked with most recently. Now, my oldest one here was someone I worked with 6 days ago. 6 days ago. So I don't have that old of contacts here. You're going to probably have contacts going back 2, 3, 4, 10 years, however long you've been using them. So start with your most recent one and start with them. So when I click on Janelle's name, you're going to see a phone number right here. She has not opted in. Now, if I go to my next contact here, which is Tom and his wife Liz, they already have opted in because I did this prior to this webinar today. I went ahead and sent them an opt-in request right here and see Tom's already opted in. So no need to send it to him. I can go ahead and start texting him listings right now. But if I go to Janelle, she hasn't opted in. So the very first thing I need to do is get her to give me her blessing to start texting her. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit this send opt-in request. There's her email address with a check mark in that box, and I'm going to hit send opt-in. Okay, your opt-in has been sent. So still, I cannot text her until I have noticed that she's opted in. So let me show you what she gets now. She gets an email that says get property alerts by text message. So I've already had to talk with Janelle. She's waiting for this message to come through. And now she can sign up to get property notifications by text messages. So she's waiting for this. In fact, she sees my name down here too. So all she needs to do is hit sign up now. And it takes her right here. And she's going to type in her cell phone number, her area code, and 7 digits after that, the 10-digit code. And she's going to say, I agree to OneHome's terms of service and policy here. Well, and then she's going to say activate text message. As soon as she does that, she's going to get a confirmation here that it is now set up for her. And I'm going to, there's the confirmation that it's been set up. Now I'm going to go back and share my cell phone screen with you because I just got a message here. Where is, oh, I got to go back into my screen sharing here. Open this up. There we go. Now you can see there's a message here, a text message. So when she, well, this is her cell phone. She would get this and see this very top one here, welcome to OneHome. So she clicks on it. She sees this message that she is now subscribed to getting OneHome. And that's the message that confirms it there. Now, I'm going to stop sharing there. Now, when I go back into Matrix, go into my contacts here, and open up Janelle's contact record, you're going to notice that she is now subscribed. Okay, life is good. There is one more thing I want to show you. It's really that easy. So have your talk with your clients that, hey, is that something you want to do? Would you like the ability of me texting you? If they do, send them an opt-in and let them know to be looking, be on the lookout for that opt-in message there. Okay, so as you go through your contacts here, apologize for jumping back and forth. Normally when I share a screen, I can have both of the phone on here and stuff there too. So, but anyways, if I go back to, let's see, there's Tom and Liz. They have they have opted in. And then if I just show you, confirm with you that Janelle has opted in, so she's good to go. But just to get back to contacts, if they have multiple email addresses, now this is a husband and a wife situation. So if one contact has multiple email addresses, all email addresses must opt in. Now, here's a question. What if Patricia wants to get emails like from an auto email, but she doesn't want to get text messages? Does that mean she's going to have to get text messages too? No, she does have to opt in, but when she opts in, don't put her cell phone number in, put her husband's in, put Ray's cell phone number in. So two different emails can have the same phone number. Okay, so you can do that, but she needs to opt in. She needs to agree to it. Otherwise, Ray can't receive text messages until Patricia opts in too. Now, let's say this is just one person. Let's just say it's Ray, but this was his work and that was his personal email address. Well, he's going to have to log into both to opt in. Either that, or I go and edit and take one of the email addresses out. But the long story is, the short story is, they both have to opt in if there's multiple email addresses there. Okay, they can be the same cell phone number for text messaging, even though there's different ones, but they do have to both opt in. Okay. Now, let me do that search for Janelle. Find some listings, and I'm going to text it to her. Now, this is a manual search, a manual email, and a manual text. Okay, it also works with the auto emails as well. So when I do my search, let me go to recent searches here. Recently.
Keith,
Yes,
while
ma'am.
that's loading, maybe you can answer the question regarding possibilities. Since now there's only the option to either favorite or dislike, for clients who have set possibilities, where did those go?
Absolutely. Yeah, in your previous client portal, the Matrix client portal, your clients have the ability to save a listing as a favorite or as a possibility or reject it. Well, people just weren't using the possibilities that much. Okay, very, very few people, less than probably 1% or so were using that. They were either saying favorite or reject. So now if they did save it as a possibility in the prior portal, it comes over into OneHome, but as a favorite. Okay, so favorites and possibilities are now in OneHome favorites. Rejects or not for me is still in the not for me or rejected pile. Okay, makes sense there. Okay, so here are 4 or 5 listings I've check marked. So I want to text this to Janelle. So once you pick them, go down to email, because you always have to email them. You can text it too, but they always have to get an email too. So when I hit the email button here, you'll see the option. Man, that's really slow. Go figure. I'm on a live demo and of course it goes slow like always. Go ahead and, so I'm gonna put Janelle's name up here. So I do have to email to her, okay? No way around that there. But now you get the new option to also send her a link via a text message. Come in here and just put in, here are some listings, type in your message and hit send. So she gets an email with those 5 listings and it takes her to her OneHome portal. But now let me stop the sharing here and let me open up my screen sharing on my iPhone. Okay. And by the way, this is something sharing my screen here. Share here. Having my cell phone on here has some people have really appreciated doing that because now it's, they're seeing it real time. So this is my cell phone now. So you saw Janelle's confirmation that she got it. Well, now that's how she gets the email or the text message. Here's a listings for you. And if she taps on that link there, it takes her right to her OneHome portal. And this is why when I was talking about MLS Touch, OneHome is the main portal. Okay, it's your main hub. It's your main repository that has everything. So it doesn't matter if she's using her cell phone, which she is in this case, or she's using a desktop or an iPad or what. Every time you email her from Matrix, it always takes her to OneHome. So it's your main source. Now you can use MLS Touch, and I would use MLS Touch, but the question is, does Janelle also want to use that too? That's another question. But here are those listings that I just sent her. And now as she clicks on properties here, just opens it up, takes her, and yes, we ask her, we welcome her feedback if she wants to do that there. But now she can get in and see this information here. There's all the properties that she's seeing. She can open up and see any of the property details here. And it just flows and works very, very nice, very fluid, if you will, there. Okay. And of course, you're seeing the sign in option at the very top there. So all she has to do on her, even on her cell phone, is just sign in one time, her email address and that password that she created. And as long as she doesn't erase her passwords off her cell phone, every time she gets a text message from me, it'll just take her right into it. Okay. So let me stop the sharing here. And let me open up, let me move this out of the way. Let's go back to my sharing again. Okay. So, but if I had also done, let me uncheck these here, but if I've also done this search for Janelle, and I come down to the save option, and I save it as a new auto email for Janelle, I also have the option to not only auto email it to her, but to auto text it to her also. Okay, so now your auto emails are actually an auto text capability as well. So as this opens up the new auto email and I pick Janelle's name, I can type in, the title of this auto email, but I can also send her a link via a text message. Now, remember, she always gets the email. Okay, there's no way around that one. But now I can choose, yes, she also wants to get them via a text message. And when she gets that auto email via text, she clicks on it and takes her right into OneHome, and she can save it there too. So I think it's a wonderful feature there to do. Okay, so not just direct auto email or direct emails can be texted, but also an auto email can be texted also, but you've got to get their permission first. They've got to get them to opt in before you do anything. And in fact, let me pick on someone here. Let me pick on John and Shannon here. If I try to text message them in an auto email to John and Shannon, and I try to save it here, and this happens not just on saving an auto email with the texting ability, but also if I was emailing them and trying to text it at the same time, you'll get this message up here that, you know what, because I had this check mark in this box down here, I cannot text it. I cannot save it or email it via a text and an email because they haven't opted in. So the only way around this is to take that feature out, and then I could save it, and then they will only get an email. So just remember, I cannot do this. I cannot choose that option, whether it's an email or saving an auto email for a client who has not opted in yet. Now I can quickly send John the opt-in request here, which he has, but I cannot save this as an auto email with this check mark in there. So I have to take that check mark out, and I have to wait until he opts in, and then I can come back in and modify this auto email by putting a check mark in there. Okay. Is that clear? Did I hopefully cleared it up? Did I muddy the waters any? Jennifer, Willie, how are the questions and stuff going?
Yeah, so one question was just regarding, and we answered it in the previous webinar, just regarding the status of pending or under contract
Okay.
being changed to an escrow or an escrow showing or an escrow not showing. We addressed that in the previous webinar, saying currently that's not a thing, but that it would be put in for a request, if that is correct.
Okay.
Is that correct, Keith?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head. You're talking about, is there a way I can show that there?
In the client portal right now, when clients are looking, it'll say under contract as the status,
Okay.
or pending. So in the MLS system right now, it shows in escrow showing and in escrow not showing. The difference being they have a contract, but they're still showing the property as escrow showing.
Okay,
They're not
that I'm
showing
not
the
sure of. You
Yeah,
might know
I can
more
take
about
that.
Yeah, thanks,
I can
Katie.
take that. Because the OneHome platform is a fully RISO data dictionary compliant database, we've taken those elements that are within the MLS that are not RISO compliant and mapped them to that data standard that's becoming ubiquitous across North America.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, it has been mentioned, but yes, as Katie just mentioned there, we're being RISO compliant, which is there's a nationwide real estate standards out there, and we're trying to all keep it all in the same playing field, if you will. So that's the situation with that there.
So when a client writes in the notes that they'd like to see a property, you can receive a notification as an agent if you set that in your portal notification settings. I
Right.
believe though, in order for your client to add notes to the property, they do have to activate an account. So if they don't activate their account, you guys, they're not going to be able to communicate with you within the OneHome portal. So that's why it's important they go in and activate their account.
Correct. So when Janelle has activated her accounts, because it doesn't say activate account anymore for her. So she already has. So now she can go in and leave me a note saying, can we see this or whatever her note is. So yes, she can leave you a note, but she does have to activate it. Now, just to kind of jump off of that same topic there. Now, this is where I see it inside of Matrix. Right there, Janelle has left me a notes on a property that if I click on it, it's on that property there, and there's a star. See those stars? That means she's left me a note. In fact, she even saved it as a favorite there. And when I click on this note here, there we go. Can we see this listing? You can also get a text message. Okay, so when your clients and your customers like Janelle are leaving you notes from their OneHome portal, and this was true about the old client portal in Matrix, that you were able to get a text message and or an email within minutes of them leaving that message, and that was found under your name and under settings. We call this the utility menu. So under your name up here where it says hello and your name, go to settings. And there was an option right here called portal notification settings. Okay, so it's been out there for several years now. So I'd like to mention this because the usage isn't that great. A lot of people are not using this feature. So what this means is when your client adds a note on their portal, you can get notified. Now, what I recommend, I like to be notified whenever my client does anything on their portal once a day. This is a little daily summary right here. So when they add a note, I like to be emailed and texted ASAP within a minute or two of them leaving a note. Okay. Now, if you want a text message, you do need to come down here where it says mobile phone number and cellular provider. You need to click on this link right here to open it up. And once you click on that, it opens up and now you can type in your cell phone number and pick your provider and then hit send me a verification code.
Hey, Keith, could you,
Yes.
while you have that up, could you show the providers?
Sure. Okay,
There
let me
was
hit.
there was a question earlier
Mhm.
because there's a provider apparently in Hawaii that's not on that list.
Okay.
So the association, the MLS, will have to send us a request and we can have that added.
Absolutely. Okay, so you pick your name. So in here, you're going to choose it. And if it wasn't in this list, Jennifer, this is where Willie can let you know who that provider is. And we can get it to whomever needs to know about that. And we'll get them added there, hopefully within, you know, a couple of days. I don't want to speak for, I'm not sure who's doing the work on this, but hopefully they can get that up there rather soon. Okay. So you do that, send me a verification code. And then within a minute, I'm going to be able to, actually, I got the code already from the last time, but I just sent it again. You're going to get a 4-digit code, just to confirm that we got the right person here. And I got it again. It is 6895. And if it's correct, I hit save. And if it takes, it locked it in. And as long as I like these settings, I don't think I need a text message every time my clients visit their portal. I'm going to be getting 500 text messages a day if my clients are going to their portal all the time, okay? Or save a favorite stuff. But I definitely want one if they add a note on there. I think that's a popular one. And you can choose your other settings here. But then make sure, as long as you have that set correct, hit save, and it locks it in, and you shouldn't have to do this again. Okay, so now every time my clients leave me a message or something like that, I'll just get a nice little text message with who it was from, what listing they were looking at, and what the message was. Now I cannot reply to that. I cannot reply to their text and send them a text, but at least I get informed on it. And then that way, when I go into Matrix, I can look right up here and see what her message was and read it, because I don't want to miss anything my clients are trying to communicate with me. Now, we were talking about Mls Touch earlier. Mls Touch has a way to send messages between me and Janelle via the app. Okay, now that's a little separate. That's just between her app and my app that I shared with her. Okay, it's not the same as leaving messages here, but so just kind of keep that in mind. The app does have that capability between apps, between my agent app of Mls Touch and the client version of Mls Touch for Janelle. So that's also another feature there, but I just thought I'd mention that there.
Awesome. And Keith, actually, or this might be for Katie, regarding rentals. I guess the statuses that are shown in OneHome for rentals right now, for properties that are in between active and rented, if there is a possibility for us to maybe add something like application pending for rentals for the status.
That's definitely something we could review. I would have to verify that against other MLSs that have deployed OneHome and will be going forward, as well as against the RISO data dictionary.
Cool.
And
Thank
Keith,
you.
while you're in there with rentals,
Mm-hmm.
there's a question about, they want to see what the information is on rentals.
Okay, let me pull up apartments here. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually done a search using rental properties here. So let me see.
I just wouldn't put any, Keith, and then it'll pull anything that's a rental.
Okay, there you go. Oh,
Oh,
actually,
there you got some. Yep.
There we go. Okay, so there's your rentals. We'll pull up one here with a nice little lanai out there. Looks like a lanai, I guess. Been a while since I've been in Hawaii, so my terminology might be off a little bit there. So as you go down, you can see beds, baths, square feet, all the information features, pool size, pets allowed, and then property details here, interior beds, full baths, total living levels, interior highlights, flooring. Okay, exterior details out there. Yeah, and feel free to pass on if any of your members are out there and you see stuff, share it with us and give it to Jennifer or her group, her team, and we'll look into it if we're missing something here out there.
Awesome. And then the next thing that it looks like that someone was asking was, can you show how to do a search for leasehold properties? I
Okay.
know that is something that we were looking at setting up for it to show leasehold versus fee simple, but is there a way for a client to do their own search for leasehold properties?
Not sure. Under contract pending, recently sold, for sale, apply, homes. I don't know, because we're still, again, using that RESO standards, and a lot of this is kind of, I don't know. Katie, would you happen to know this?
Oh, you're right on track there, Keith. It's due to the
Okay.
RESO standard.
Thank
We
you.
are under process, and I've been keeping in touch, Jen, with you and your team on having that added. But because there truly is one home, that is not something that would be specifically searched for by a consumer. However, the agent always has that option to include
Absolutely.
just that catchment in their agent or in their client's search criteria.
Right. Thank you, Katie, for saying that. When it comes to more specific stuff like that, I mean, the client just gets the standard stuff. I mean, if they went to, you know, a lot of other sites out there and stuff, but if they want more detailed, like the fee simple type or leasehold out there, I can come in and definitely do that search for them and save this as an auto email, and they're getting it, whether I do a manual email or save it as an auto email, and they get updates. And I can even label that search, you know, with what the criteria is for them. So I definitely can do that inside a matrix, where when they get the results, they're only seeing fee simple or leasehold or whatever I said there. But for them to actually come and do a search for leasehold or fee simple, not at the moment, because like Katie said, it truly is a one home, which it's a national type of database for RESO compliant there, if you will. But it's been noted, it's been mentioned, and Katie will continue to work with you guys on that to see how we can do that.
Awesome. And then another question. So currently in the old client portal, agents were able to have a agent view of the client's portal as well as the client's view. Is that still possible within OneHome? And if so, how would the agent do
No,
that?
no, you're right. Some matrix accounts had the ability that when you went in and emailed listings, you could add additional reports where you could add like an agent report. Well, first of all, OneHome is not, it's designed for the consumer. No confidential information. Agent reports is not designed to be shared with the consumer. So OneHome, you pretty much just get, the thumbnail views, or you click on it and you can see the long list of information there. So agent reports, things like that is, like I said, it's very confidential information. It should not be shared with consumers there. However, when I'm in Matrix and I do my search, and I find some listings. A lot of people don't know this. In fact, I was just in Florida a couple weeks ago for a trade show, and people asked the same question about the ability to have agent detailed information. Well, if I send an email this way, if I use this, it sends it to OneHome. But did you know that if I pick those same listings and under print, I can now come in and pick some reports, such as a actually, and this is the first time I saw your system's reports here. I see client reports. I don't see an agent reports here, but the bottom line is you can, I'm under rental. Yeah, I think this is a rental full. This rental full, I believe, is your agent report. I'm just in the rental property type, if I'm correct. But some of these reports here can be emailed also, but again, they should not be emailed unless it's a client-friendly report there. But if I wanted to email it to another agent, another realtor, to an appraiser, to a home inspector, or something like that, some of those reports, and it's all based on your MLS rules and regulations, Jennifer. I mean, we can unlock it. When I click on this rental full, I'm not able to email it there. But that is something that would be discussed by your MLS, and we can make it. It's just we don't want your customers getting emailed that report, because they shouldn't be there. So in fact, I'm going to pull up, I'm going to do a residential search here real quick, because that was under rental properties there.
Okay, and then while you're doing that, maybe if you're able to answer it, just when you have two clients on an auto email, since you have to have a phone number in there for both, is there a way to avoid it where if you only have the one number, that person's not receiving that text notification twice saying the same thing?
So I think this was getting back to, I think it was Ray and Patricia, my husband and wife. They had two email addresses. You know, Ray wants to get an email and Patricia wants to get an email, but Ray wants to get a text message, but Patricia doesn't want a text message, but they both have to opt in. Well, when Patricia opts in, she can just type in Ray's cell phone number, not hers, but Ray's. So that way there's only one phone number. It looks like there's two, but it's the same phone number. So Ray is the only one getting texted, even though both Ray and Patricia both opted in. It's just that Patricia put in Ray's phone number and not her own phone number. So that way Patricia does not get a text message.
And then just to clarify, Ray would not receive that text message twice. He would just
No.
receive it once.
You would just receive it once, right? That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So here, I just residential property, I picked 4 properties. Instead of emailing it, which goes to OneHome, which only has those customer friendly reports, no agent details. If I go to print, and like I said, I've not seen your detailed reports here, but under print gives you a second way of emailing, and it does not use OneHome. This is where you can pick your, okay, I guess there are still rental full. I think this is your agent full, I believe. Okay. You see right here, I can email this. So if I wanted to email those 4 listings to another agent or to a home inspector or to an appraiser, someone who's not a client, I could do that because I don't want to send these 4 listings to another agent or a home inspector or an appraiser via OneHome because they're not a client. They're you know, another agent or home inspector or something. So it's okay for them to see more information. So I can come in this way and email it to the other agent. He gets it as a PDF, but he can see all that information there. In fact, let me hit cancel here. There was a preview option down here. I hope that makes sense. Okay, there's 2 ways to emails, the email button or under the print. Under the print, you don't have to print it, but you can email it as a PDF. And I'm just going to hit preview here. So then when that other agent, the other realtor or the home inspector or whoever, they get it in this view, not OneHome view. Now they get it in the more agent full view, if you will. Make sense? Okay. Because clients shouldn't be seeing this view. And that's why it's not possible to see that on OneHome. Okay. So just remember there's 2 ways to email.
And then Keith, I actually do remember that question regarding the client portal for OneHome. If a client is searching by building, how would they do so to find that information on the building itself? Like if they're conducting their own search.
Okay, so under by, okay, they go to house. You mean they just want to see building information? Okay. Let me walk through this and see if that answers your question, make sure I understand. Here's their property types they can choose from. Here's the price ranges they can choose from. Here's their bedrooms. They can say at least 3 or more and apply it. Square feet range they can do, but if they go to more, they can choose some other styles, see more styles. There's all kinds of styles they can see. 1 story, 2 story, 3 story, 4 or more stories, features, pool, basement, parking, garage, construction, foreclosure, auction, and then they can do keywords in here too. Now, it's not everything. I mean, you and I, we're the members of Matrix. We're the ones who have that capability of searching for everything out there. When it gets to your consumers, we want to keep it as simple as possible. We don't want to overwhelm them with all these options. That's where, you know, they need you and I for us to go in here. But these are your options here. So, but they can do keywords. So if they go in here and type in pool, well, pool was actually already above here, and you can see some options here such as fireplace. if they type in keywords here, it does scour each listing for those keywords. And if it finds it, it'll retrieve it in the results there. So they just need to hit add, and then they can go and type in, you know, maybe fence. They were looking for a fenced in yard. So type in stuff like that. So they can type in some keywords to, you know, based on what they're searching for. But there again, less is more. As I tell other agents when they're using Matrix and training classes, too many times people when they're searching, they put in too much information, you know, and they come back with no results. And they're like, well, I know there's something out there that has it. Well, they put too much criteria in that it just filtered everything out. So put in as less as possible, you'll get more results out there. And that's one thing we don't want your customers to do, is put too much in and not get any results. So I hope I answered that question here out there.
Now that I'm rereading the question, I'm so sorry. I think the question is regarding, once the search is done for like that condo building, how would they get information about that building?
Oh, okay.
Because it shows, you know, like the like neighborhood information and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, so let me finish doing my search here. Let's pull this property up here. So as I get property, I click on it, go to more details. I think I showed this earlier, but maybe I didn't, or maybe I wasn't clear on it. But if I scroll down, this is where they had features. This is, they have property details where they can see all the details of this property. Remember where they could open and close here? And if they open it up, they can see all kinds of building details: construction, frame, year built, detached, style, roof, other facts and features, zoning, possession, legal and financial, location. Okay, and then it gets into schools. So it's, sometimes people miss it just because they're all kind of closed up here. Let me kind of close them up again. See how they're closed up here? They can just open and close, and underneath each of these categories, they get a wealth of information in there. And sometimes I think people don't realize they can open and close that to see a lot more details in there. Okay.
Awesome. Well, Keith and Willie, Jay, and Katie, thank you so much for joining us today to answer questions for our members. It looks like we may have one more question that just comes in. When the client activates their OneHome account, can they skip all the criteria questions to have a larger selection? I'm guessing that's in regards to the preferences.
I think the property fit preference, absolutely. They do not need to do, we do kind of prompt them. So when Janelle activated her account, we do prompt her to go through a property fit preference, but does she have to do it? No, she can just cancel or go ahead and do it. And she can skip. She's undecided. She doesn't really care if it's a newer home or something older. She can skip that question and go to the next one. But this property fit preference is just something that kind of dives in a little deeper and ask her certain questions, and I can see her answers. I can see what she answers if she goes through it here. And what it does by her going through this and picking these, answering these questions here, just digs a little deeper, kind of, you know, researches and ask her interior features and exterior features. And then there's, I'm just going to pick 3 of each here, and then it asks to rank them. But absolutely, she can skip this at any time. But as long as she goes in and fills this out, we're just learning more and more about her, what she's looking for. And the nice thing is, once she hits next here or finish, every property that I send her will have a little score right here. So each property is kind of weighted. You know, the higher the weight, the higher that percentage, the higher that score is, the better it meets what she just said she was looking for. Okay. So she told me one thing, and I sent her a search and some results based on that criteria she told me. But then she also told OneHome her property fit preference, And now she's seeing what I sent her versus what she had said there, and just helps match it, finds a better fit for her, if you will, out there. But does she have to do it? No. And she can always go back in later, go back into there and change it if she wants to.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah.
think the misconception came, Keith, is they think they're only going to see homes that
No.
match their preferences.
No.
They'll still see everything, but like Keith
Absolutely.
mentioned, some of them will have a real low score because it doesn't really match what they're looking for
Like this
compared
one
to
here.
others.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just a low match.
perfect example.
Yep.
But they'll
Yeah.
still see everything in OneHome.
It does not mess up my search criteria whatsoever, and does not mess up her search criteria. So if she went in and did her own search and saved it, it doesn't mess up her search criteria either. This is just it's just a preference. It helps weigh each property that she finds or I find for her, and she sees. It just helps weigh it there. But does she have to do it? No. Just like the planner up here. I mean, we give them a planner that they can go through and learn more about the buying process or the selling process of buying a house and stuff. They don't have to go through this either. They don't have to do these tasks, if you will, but it just helps educate them to the buying and selling process of real estate. And we always prompt them to come back and talk to your agent, find out more information about figuring out your finances, how much you can afford, or get pre-approved or things like that. Oh, really? I need to get pre-approved? I thought I could buy any property I wanted.
Awesome.
like
So yeah,
that.
guys, the main benefits, honestly, of creating or having your client fill out the property fit score and the planner is just because you get that information, you get access to that information on their client card, and it's going to help you have more conversations. Like Keith said, if the information you're seeing based off of what they provided doesn't match with the searches that they're doing.
Yep.
And especially when it comes to clients that have partners on an auto email, right? You can see if what's important to them is differing, right? Because that might be something where you need to have another conversation. If one person is saying, I really don't care about having a garage or parking, and the other person is saying, no, I really do care, it could change what they're looking for and what type of property they're interested in. So that's the benefit of having them do the property fit. And then the benefit of having them do the planner is that you can see where they're stuck at in the home buying process or home selling process. And you can say, hey, I noticed that this is an area where you might need some more help on. How can I assist you? Right. But then again, it also gives them an idea of what's coming up next, like Keith said. So those are the benefits that if they don't activate an account, you won't have access to. And again, the huge benefit and the main reason why we want you to convince your clients to activate their account is because that's the only way they're going to be able to communicate with you in OneHome. So please make sure you ask them to activate their account. They don't necessarily have to do these other things, but it's going to help you to, what we have as our saying, right? Collaborate, communicate, and create those stronger relationships with your guys' clients.
And two last things here real quick. Tom and Liz, if I had an email for Liz on here and they both created their account, Tom did and Liz did, they both can do a property fit score. Right here, they have a toggle to where I can see what Tom's answers were, and I can toggle over and see what Liz's answers were. And 9 times out of 10, a husband will say these options and a wife will say these options, and they're both not gelling together there. So you can have that talk, say, hey, look, Tom wants a newer home. Liz, you want an older home. Come on now, let's get on board here. What's going to be up? We know Liz is going to win that argument, don't we? So, but one last thing here. Here's an old feature that also kind of benefits that property fit score, and this is something I'm not sure if people know about this option here. But if I did a search and I found these 14 properties and I'm searching for Tom, and then I'm thinking, this listing on Farrington Highway. I think Janelle might like that. Did I ever send that listing to Janelle? Well, did you know under Refine down here, we have an option called View As. I can view this list of properties as Janelle. And then this will tell me if I've ever emailed that listing on Farrington Highway. Nope, I have never emailed it to her. Now I emailed these other ones, and one of them she saved as a favorite, one she rejected. In fact, one she even left me a note on. But that listing there on Farrington, I never emailed it to Janelle. But look, here's that new feature. If she does a property fit score also, she fills out that preference, we can also see what her score is on each of those properties as well. So that's another benefit if Janelle did, because then I'd say, well, you know what? It's a 97 on the property fit score. You better believe I'm going to be emailing that to her because it's almost perfect match for her. Now, if it was a 27, maybe I wouldn't send it to her because it's a little bit lower there. So just a refined view as feature. I don't know if you guys know that. You can view it as any of these contacts there. Okay.
Awesome. Okay, well, thank you guys. I guess there's one last question. I'm sorry, I know we're a little over, you guys. So
Okay.
this is the last question that we will be answering. It's that, can coming soon properties be shared on OneHome? I believe they can, as long as you, the agent, selects that as a search criteria when you set up your auto email. Is that
Say that
correct,
again.
Keith?
Say that again.
Coming soon properties.
Oh,
be
yeah.
shared on
I
OneHome.
can't search by coming soon in OneHome, but if I go into my criteria and I pick that as my criteria, absolutely. Janelle, if I do a search for coming soon, whether I save it as an auto email or I just find it and I select it and I email it, absolutely, Janelle can see that. If I can see it in Matrix and email it to Janelle, she can see it on OneHome. Right.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you guys do have additional questions regarding OneHome as the week progresses, please feel free to reach out to the client care team. You know our contact number. It's 808-791-3789, or email us at techsupport@highcentralmls.com. If we don't have the answer, we will definitely make sure to reach out to Keith, Willie, Jay, and Katie to get that answer for you guys.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Bye,
Mahalo.
everybody.
Bye.